Only the children of light is gonna understand this.
For there are three philosophical sects among the Jews, the followers of the first of which are the Pharisees, of the second, the Sadducees, and the third sect, and the third sect, and the third sect, which pretends to a severer discipline, are called the Essenes. These last are Jews by birth, and Jews by birth.
This is the knowledge of the Essene brotherhood. This is the knowledge of the Essene brotherhood. This is the knowledge of the Essene brotherhood. Taking it back to the way that it was in the beginning.
Was yours up? Okay. This yours was up. All right. First and foremost, peace and blessings, peace and blessings, peace and blessings. I want to say all praises be unto the Most High Almighty, Ahai Yeshua Christ, our Lord, our God, our Savior, who the world calls Jesus Christ. My name is Archbishop Shamar.
And I'm Bishop Micah Allah.
And we be bringing you our Sabbath report / lesson. Once again, this is the Essene Community Church of Christ. The lesson / report / worship / gospel / song of the day is Cry Aloud. The cries of Sodom, the people, and the land. Proclamations. All right, we're at part 2. All right, we're at part 2, and we've been understanding certain things about cries. All right, what these cries are, that God hears cries that come up to heaven. All right, when we went into this word cry, right, it let us know that it's a shriek, it's an outcry, right? What are these outcries? They said they're as a herald, right? We went into what a herald is, right? A herald is a crier, right? One who officially is proclaiming things, making things known publicly, whether that be the people having a crier who's going to let them know, hey, this is my official, their complaints, or it's the government, the authorities having a crier who's letting them know, hey, this is what the government is doing. This is what the government is saying. This is what the government is proclaiming. Right. And we analyze the scripture, all right, and we're going to get to it. Yes, you know what? Give us Genesis 18 and 20 real quick.
It's the book of Genesis, chapter 18, verse 20. And the Lord said, because the cry of Sodom and Gomorrah is great, and because their sin is very grievous, I will go down now and see whether they have done altogether according to the cry of it, which has come unto me, and if not, I will know.
All right. So the Lord said, because the cry of Sodom and Gomorrah is great, because their sin is grievous, right, he's going to go down and hear whether they've done according to the cry. All right. And what we've been doing is seeing that. Why is he saying the cry is sin? Because when you hear someone crying, how can a cry be bad? Or since when did the cry be bad? Right? When it's attached to certain actions. Right. Children, sometimes they cry, and yeah, they could cry sometime, but okay, why are they crying? Sometimes they're crying because they're pouting for something. Right. With this is kind of different. These cries are laws or things being put in place. Right, and the cry could be either good, and the cry could either be bad, right?
Was it because of the injustice of the laws? Or?
Correct. Different things that's happening, right? So the cries could either be good, or the cries could either be great. Either be bad, all right, sinful, right? The cries of the people can either be good, right? Blessing, officially blessing and honoring what's going on, or the cries of the people could be outpours, right? Complaining what's going on. And these have to be officially done. And that's why it's being done through a crier, a herald, all of these things. All right, but once again, we're going to go through this part 2. Once again, this is the Sabbath class / report / lesson, song, gospel, right? The song of the day, cry aloud. All right, cry aloud. The cries of the people, the land. All right, and Sodom. All right, the cries of Sodom, the people, and the land. Proclamations. All right, we're at part 2. We're going to start at Isaiah 53 and 1.
This is the book of the prophet Isaiah chapter 53 verse 1. Who hath believed our report, and to whom is the arm of the Lord revealed?
All right, who has believed our report? All right, so who's going to believe the report? The report going against to being willing. All right, who's going to be willing to do the things that are being said? Because once again, when God is sending out the individuals, whether the individuals who they're speaking to is willing or not, the thing is going to happen. The only reason why it's being said is so that they can have an opportunity before it's too late to do whatever. And like always, there's only going to be a remnant of people that's going to listen to them. That's what's always transpired. And the other people, they get wrapped up in what everyone else is doing. All right. And the blind leadeth the blind, and the sheep all falleth into the ditch. All right. And a remnant of people that escape. Who can find me the people, or the people of Israel, right? Those who are black, who escaped out of slavery and all of that, and they can speak about it. It's a very minute minority. All right. They don't even want to make themselves known. Why? Because they going to have money. They probably going to be ridiculed, all these different types of stuff. All right. So the belief, when they're asking who's going to believe, it's for the people's sake, right? It's not for the sake of the word or even for the prophet, right? It's for the individuals to hear, listen, believe, and then be a part of the movement that is coming, because it's coming regardless if they want to be a part of it, right? The thing is going to happen regardless if they're not going to help it come to pass and make it happen, right? As Christ even said, he can raise up stones. The stones he can do the job if it really get down to it. I don't need people. I can make the stones into people and stone people. You know, I'm pretty sure there's some movie or show that have stone people in there. All right. But this is what he's letting us know. All right. And this is who the power of the Lord is revealed to. So once again, these individuals are endowed with the power, and God, right? He doesn't just manifest this power. This power is hidden, because the power could be the quickest thing to convince you. God just wanted him to just reveal his power and make that convince you. He could do that right now. Right. So his power is being revealed in a mysterious way, because he doesn't want to sway you by outside fleshly things. He wants you to be swayed by belief, information. All right. Not by him doing immaculate things and manifesting this great power before you to convince your mind, because everybody would be convinced. All right. But clearly, by the way he's crafted it, it's crafted in a way that, hey, you're not going to be able to see what's transpired, but there's all these clues here, and now it's who believes. These people who believe, they receive reward, because guess what? You believed. All right, so once again, who's going to believe our report, and to whom is the arm of the Lord revealed? All right, we're going to go through the scriptures to ensure that they're interpreted, translated, and taught correctly. We're at Sirach 1 and 6.
It's the book of Sirach, chapter 1, verse 6. To whom hath the root of wisdom been revealed, or who hath known her wise counsels? Unto whom hath the knowledge of wisdom been made manifest, and who hath understood her great experience?
All right, so unto whom has the root of wisdom been revealed? All right, who knows the root of wisdom? All right, and that's the root of where you're getting this information from. Where is this information coming from? Is it coming from a man? It's coming from a textbook? It's coming from this, right? No, it's coming from this entity, right? The spirit that's a part of the Godhead. God that's a part of the Godhead, the feminine principle of God, right? That is one with the Godhead. It's coming from her. and then being passed through to man, that's being passed through into books, that's now you're studying and saying, oh, this is information, this is knowledge, this is wisdom, right? But it's coming from somebody. In the world, it's coming from somebody, but before it enters into the world, it's coming from somebody. That somebody is wisdom. She has a story, right? She has laws. This is why we're talking about the laws of nature. Mother Nature. Mother Nature has laws. Those are her laws. If you don't follow her laws or what she's saying, right, you're going against her and what she's saying. All right. So she has laws, and to who understands her great experience, right? And understanding her great experience and wisdom's great experience, right, helps us then understand the experience of the female, the woman as well, right? Understanding her purest essence, which is a representation of wisdom, and also understanding, right, the other carnal side. Right. And why is that? Because all these things are being revealed by the mother, right? So once again, we're going through the scriptures. When we already went to Genesis 18, the cries of Sodom was screaming out to the Most High. We went into what these cries are, right? Which is official outcries, right? Heralds. What is a herald? Right? A crier, someone who proclaims something publicly, make known things publicly. Right, we went through the scriptures and we see what was they crying about in the land of Sodom, right? They were crying about how they were treating strangers. So strangers would come into the land and they were robbing them. And who was robbing them? All the people of the land. It was saying the mom, the children, the women, and the men. So all the people were with this, all right? And then people are coming into the land, foreigners, strangers, travelers, right? They're experiencing these things. And that made them cry up to the Most High. And the one thing that the Most High has is that, hey, if you're treating strangers bad, then this is where the Most High is now going to have to come in and step in. And this is why even in right now, when you see all this war happening, they don't touch foreigners. Because once again, touching foreigners and strangers that go in land, this is the quickest thing to make the Most High react. All right, and that's what we were seeing, that the cries that was happening in the land, and we went into Ezekiel as well to see what was the whole thing of Sodom, the complaint. One of the main complaints was how they were treating the poor and how they were filled with abundance and they wouldn't even help the poor. And they were robbing the poor on top of that. On top of that, they were erecting beds in the city, right? When men is coming into the city, the whole town is forcefully holding the man down onto the bed and tying him to a bed, stretching him out, making him holler out. Right? Which then fits into the story of Lot and the Sodom and Gomorrah and the fire and the brimstone. Because why did the angels go down? Because God said he heard the cries. He said, go down and see if these things are true. The angels are gone down as men and they're in the land now and they see them and they want to hold them down. What did they want to do with them now in the Genesis? They wanted to erect them and put them and stretch them on the bed, right? So these things that the land is officially proclaiming, that's what was going up to the Most High's ears. And then when he's checking out these cries, these laws, these things that they're proclaiming, they were wickedness. And this is what brought on the fire, the brimstone, right? We went into then the cries that was happening with Israel. Right, Israel and Egypt, that okay, if the government system is burdening you, the people should have a crier, meaning official individuals who's going to go out and make cry proclamation out to the Lord to officially complain about what's going on. They complain to the individuals first, the individuals reject it, then they go and they complain to the Most High. The Most High hears that cry, right? And that's what made him send Moses to get Israel, because he heard the cry and he remembered the covenant he made with Abraham, and they were getting burdened through work and slavery. Right, so we're just hearing what makes the Most High's cries air, and then we ended it off that Israel fell into sin, and he's like, you're going to other gods, you're doing wickedness, you can cry now, but I'm not going to help. And we go into when a child cries and they keep doing bad and they're crying, that the parent at some point has to take a stand and say, you know what, you can cry blood eye water, I am not helping you, right? You can stay in that crib, I'm not helping you. All right, and that's what God was saying, because every time they were crying out and he was helping them, they would go back and do more wickedness. All right, so doing more wickedness, right, that will cause him now to now have to help them again. And if you do that now you have a spoiled child. Now you have a spoiled child that every time they cry, they're supposed to get help, and then their attitude is not changed or anything. All right, so what did the Most High do with Israel? He's like, no, you could cry blood, eye water, and it was literally blood, eye water. All right, and he ain't helping. All right, so that's basically where we had caught off there, stopped off there. And just understanding what cries are, right? Cries, proclamations, a crier in court, right? Crier in court or a herald in court is a person officially announcing what's happening publicly. All rise, here in the court, we have come and judged, da, 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 da. That's a crier, that's an announcer, officially letting the public know what's going on. All right, so we are at page... All right, we're at page 10. We're actually going to start again and rehash Judges 10 and 10.
It's the book of Judges, chapter 10, verse 10. And the children of Israel cried unto the Lord, saying, We have sinned against thee, both because we have forsaken our God, and also served Baalim. And the Lord said unto the children of Israel, Did not I deliver you from the Egyptians, and from the Amorites, and from the children of Ammon, and from the Philistines, the Zidonians also, and the Amalekites, and the Maonites, did oppress you, and ye cried to me, and I delivered you out their hand. Yet ye have forsaken me, and served other gods, wherefore I will deliver you no more. Go and cry unto the gods which ye have chosen. Let them deliver you in the time of your tribulation. And the children of Israel said unto the Lord, We have sinned. Do thou unto us whatsoever seemeth good unto thee. Deliver us only, we pray thee, this day. And they put away the strange gods from among them, and served the Lord. And his soul was grieved for the misery of Israel.
All right, so once again, we're seeing here that Israel came to the realization that they've sinned, right, because they forsaken God, they forsook their God, they served Baalim. All right, what Baalim is the multiple names of this God. And we're going to get into this as well, because once again, we're going to clear up a lot of this, especially with the name of God. What this Baal thing is, Baalim, all right? Baalim just means Lord, all right? That was a nickname for the God because they cannot literally put a God's name in God's word. That's against what the law says. Right, so they had a nickname. The name was Balaam, which means Lord, and it was synonymous that they were making that God their Lord, and they were claiming that God was the Lord of the land. All right, we're going to go into the culture that happened there. Right, but Balaam is now the multiple gods, right, that is in this name, the multiple lords that they were dealing with. Right, and the Lord said unto the children of Israel, Did I not deliver you from the Egyptians, from the Amorites, from the children of Ammon, from the Philistines? So this is multiple times he delivered them. Egyptians, Amorites, children of Ammon, Philistines. 4 times he's mentioning already. You guys cried out, I helped you, and you went back and you're doing the same dirty behavior, nasty behavior, dirty behavior. This is what he's saying. Did I not deliver you from the Egyptians, from the Amorites, the children of Ammon, from the Philistines? Said the Zidonians also, Amalekites, Moabites. This is 7 times now. Did oppress you? These people oppressed you. You cried unto me officially, and I delivered you out of their hand. Yet again, you forsook me. You're serving other gods. Therefore, he's not going to deliver you no more. Therefore, he said, you could cry blood, I'm not going to deliver you again, because how much times did I deliver you? He's naming them out. Egyptians, Amorites, Ammon, Philistines, Zidonians, Amalekites, Maonites. All right, all these people oppressed them, right? He delivered them out of the hand. Yet they're forsaking him, and they're going and serving other gods. They're carrying on with this behavior. This is why he's saying he's not going to deliver them no more. So it's the same thing when they have a child. And I'm seeing it a lot now, because now people are like, oh, what? Especially in society, you know what, the child is crying, just no, easy, and no, just let them know. We're seeing how the Most High is dealing with the child. Who is the child? The child of Israel. Okay, we're gonna help them multiple times. If the child's not gonna change their behavior, they can continue to cry. Right, and you have to develop this from early, because if you continue with this, that's what's going to be ingrained in their mind. They're being programmed for that. Right, so God is stopping that now, and he's still like, he's not. We can see that he's not like he's a firm. He's firm, but once again, he has so much mercy that he's just not. Oh, I said this and it's done, and the second time I'm obliterating you guys. They did it multiple times. It's about 7, 8 times now, 9 times that he's talking about. Now he's saying, okay, I'm going to go in. And this is what the Most High does. The Most High speaks, and people, it's the word that he's saying that people are supposed to listen to. It's not really the power and the action. That's the last thing that he's supposed to do to convince you. So you're supposed to be convinced by somebody speaking the word. And if the word is right, then it means the word is Christ. All right. If the word is right, that means the word is Christ. All right. And you're supposed to listen to that word. Right, and that's why he's going to tell you the word multiple times. Like, all right, you're not listening to the word again? Again, you're not listening to the word? Okay, you're not. Now you're going to have to listen to the power now, right? The power should be the last thing. You shouldn't need to feel that power, that pain, that punishment, that judgment. All right, so he says, go cry unto the gods which you have. Let them deliver you in the time of your tribulation. And the children of Israel said to the Lord, so we have sinned, we have sinned. So they acknowledged their sin. God told them, I'm not going to save them. But they still had to carry on as if, everything is fine. And this is what I tell people. When we go against God, and God is now like, all right, something's happening to you. He's not listening to you right now, meaning he's not healing you right now, meaning he's not curing you right now, meaning the problem's not going away right now. That doesn't mean for you now to be like, you know what? Let me stop the action. Because here Israel, he told Israel that, and the children said to the Lord, we have sinned. Do to us whatever seemeth good to thee. So they're saying, all right, we're just acknowledging our sin. You could do whatever you want, but all we want to do is acknowledge our sin. Deliver us only, we pray you this day. Right? He didn't deliver them. Right? They put away their gods. They served the Lord. Right? And they're going to continue in that way until God decides, all right, now I'm going to do it. Because the only reason why you're saying this right now, because you want to be delivered. So why are you just going to deliver you? Because you're saying, you've been saying that all the time there now. So they're going to continue in this behavior. And when they continue in this behavior for a time, now you'll be like, okay, they get it now. But for them to say that with words and him deliver them again, you've been saying that. Right? I gave you multiple times to say that. Now the children of Israel is like, you know what? We're just going to operate in this way. We told him that. He told us whatever, but he could do whatever he wants to us. We're going to do this. Right? And eventually the Most High alleviates them when he feels like it, not when you want him to. Right? Because he already came multiple times and he was on your timing. Now he's like, this is not on your timing. It's on my timing. And you're going to have to wait and deal with the tribulation in the meantime. Right? And a lot of people don't understand that this is how God operates. He gives you the multiple times. I gave you all the chances. And then when the power is felt, because once again, what did I say? What comes first? The word. You didn't listen to the word. Oh, now you felt the power. What is the power? Something happening. Something transpiring. That's the power now. But I'm betting you there was the word before that. Yeah.
A lot of times too, people are trying to find remedies to fix what's going on or solve the problem, but nothing works. It's just
sometimes you see right there, they're like, all right, the big fix would be to go straight to God. God's like, I'm not fixing it. Right?
Yeah, you have to wait now.
Yeah, you have to wait.
But you gotta wait now.
I ain't just saying I will, right? He didn't say that here. He's like, go cry to them. They're like, all right, if I listen to them, they're like, obviously, if we listen, he eventually one day he gonna come back. But he's not saying, oh, I will. He's not gonna tell you that, because now you're not gonna do the thing by faith. You're gonna be like, oh, I'm gonna do it because he said at the end, I'm gonna save you at the end of that. No, he didn't say nothing. He just said, go cry to them. I'm not helping you right now. You're gonna have to wait and see if he will help you or not.
So he's basically saying like you chose other gods.
Yeah.
So go to them. Why are you coming to me?
All right, so we're at 1 Samuel 15. So we're going to continue.
It's the book of 1 Samuel chapter 15, verse 1. And the Philistines took the ark of God and brought it from Ebenezer unto Ashdod. When the Philistines took the ark of God, they brought it into the house of Dagon and set it by Dagon.
All right. So what are we seeing now? All right. We're at page 11.
11.
All right. What are we seeing now? We're seeing the Philistines. They're taking the ark of God. So we're seeing another form of cry, another thing that's being established. And we're seeing how the Most High, we're seeing what makes the Most High react. Right? This is what you want to know. You know, when you learn about your partner or your parent or someone, you're like, you know what? Oh, this makes them react in a certain way. We're learning what makes the Most High react and not react. What grinds his gears the most to where he can't ignore this. All right, so here we're seeing the Philistines, they're taking the ark of God, and we know the ark of God is a representation of something. All right, so they're taking the ark of God, and they brought it from Ebenezer onto Ashdod. Right, the Philistines took the ark of God, and they brought it into the house of Dagon. So they took the ark of God, they brought it into the next false god's house, and they set it by the false god idol. Right, so this is what they're doing to the ark. All right, continue for us.
It's the book of 1 Samuel chapter 15 verse 3. And when day of Ashdod arose early on the morrow, behold, Dagon was fallen upon his face to the earth before the ark of the Lord. And they took Dagon and set him in his place again. And when they arose early on the morrow morning, behold, Dagon was fallen upon his face to the ground before the ark of the Lord. And the head of Dagon and both the palms of his hands were cut off upon the threshold. Only the stump of Dagon was left to him.
All right, so right there, we're seeing that once again, when day of Ashdod arose on the morrow, behold, Dagon was fallen on his face to the earth before the ark of the Lord. So when they did this thing, God is watching. So he just puts his power when certain things that grind his thing. That's when he's really like, all right, this is too much. So they did this disrespect to the ark. They put it by the false god in the false god's house. Right, when they came back the next day, Dagon's fallen. Right, God made that false idol break. Right, they took Dagon and set him in his place again. Right, so it's fallen on the side. They're like, you know what? Let's set him up and put him up again. So this is what they did. All right, continue for us. Verse 4.
And when they arose early on the morrow morning, behold, Dagon was fallen upon his face to the ground before the ark of the Lord. And the head of Dagon and both the palms of his hands were cut off upon the threshold. Only the stump of Dagon was left to him. Therefore neither the priest of Dagon, nor any that come into Dagon's house, tread on the threshold of Dagon in Ashdod unto this day. But the hand of the Lord was heavy upon them of Ashdod, and he destroyed them and smote them with emerods, even Ashdod and the coasts thereof. And when the men of Ashdod saw that it was so, they said, the ark of God of Israel shall not abide with us, for his hand is sore upon us and upon Dagon our God.
All right, so we're seeing now, all right, Dagon fallen to the ground, right? The head of Dagon, both of his palms and his hands were cut off. So when they put him up again, the next day they come back, Dagon's fallen upon his face on the ground before the ark. The head of Dagon, both of the palms of his hands are cut off upon the threshold, and only the stump of Dagon was left to him. All right, so once again, what is God showing? That, hey, this thing that they were establishing publicly, he was against. So now he's manifesting his power to show them, yo, this right here, God is saying, nah, this not happening. Right away, he's influencing his power. So we're seeing God doesn't always show this power, but there's certain things that make him now, all right, I can't wait with this mercy. Now I have to do something and act now accordingly. All right, so they got to do something and act now accordingly. Right, so only a stump of him is left. Right, and therefore neither the priests of Dagon nor anyone that come into Dagon's house tread on the threshold of Dagon and Ashdod unto this day. So they were surprised, right? And then the hand of the Most High was heavy upon them of Ashdod. So now he's punishing the people. His hand is heavy upon them, meaning, what is he doing? Hand heavy, meaning a heavy hand. He's boxing them, all right? Slapping them. What is that slap? Punishment, judgment. His hand is heavy hand. Woof. Misbehaving, all right? So the Lord was heavy upon them, all right? The hand of the Lord was heavy upon them. Box that. Punishment, whipping, smote them with what? Emerods. All right. I don't know if anyone wants emerods. All right. You know what? Let's get into that. Let me get that here.
Sounds like a whip or something.
What is it? Emerods. Hemorrhoids. Yeah, hemorrhoid. I think it could be hemorrhoid. Yeah, I think it's hemorrhoids.
Oh, that's what they got.
Yeah.
Damn, that's crazy.
With that in their butt.
What is the word? How do you spell it? That's how they spell it here. Emerods. E-M-E rods. E-M-E rods.
Damn.
E-M-E rods. Bible Strongs. All right, let's get it real quick.
I heard they're painful.
All right, so the Strongs for that, right, is H2914. It's tekor, from an unused root meaning to burn. Emerald, a boil or ulcer from the inflammation, especially a tumor in the anus, or pudenda. The pudenda. What's the pudenda? Anus or pudenda. All right, so he gave them, right, basically that's hemorrhoids. All right, he gave them hemorrhoids. All right, so all of them, he's like, all right, y'all playing with me? Y'all playing with me? All right, here's a joke. Joke on you. Whole community hemorrhoids. All right, everybody complaining about their booty hole. All right. Because he's like, y'all full of, now y'all really full of.
They come out because they're hurt.
All right.
Put that on right there. So,
Okay, let me get that etymology. All right. Pudendum, right? Yeah. All right, yeah, so there's pudendum. All right.
pudendum, external genitals. Often, specifically the vulva, late 14th century, pudenda, from Latin pudendum, plural pudenda, literally, thing to be ashamed of, neuter, gerundive of pudere, make ashamed, be ashamed, sometimes said to be a form from root, pued, to punish, repulse, or else to press, hurry. In van is doubtful, translated into Old English as scalum, shame limb. In Middle English, it is also was Englished and pudende, male genitals. Yeah, pudental.
All right, so the anus or the pudendum, so either in the anus or the genitals. All right, so they're getting boils, tumors in their anus or in their genital area. All right, so this is what the Most High was doing, because what? The public thing that they did, that cry that they made, what was the cry? The cry was, you know what, we're going to take the Ark of God and we're going to put it in the idol's house. That now made the Most High react in a certain. So we're hearing that the Most High ignores cries. There's some cries like, all right, that's a good cry. But there's some that I have to see what's going on with that cry. And that's what we started with the Sodom, where it's like, is this what I'm hearing? Like, no, I got to do something now, right? Send them down there. Right, and we're seeing that this is one of those ones. All right, you're mixing up something sacred with the Most High stuff and connecting it to another God. All right, this now has gone too far. All right, so we're gonna go to 1 Samuel 7:3.
It's the book of 1 Samuel chapter 7 verse 3. And Samuel spake unto all the house of Israel, saying, if ye do return unto the Lord with all your hearts, then put away the strange gods and Ashtaroth from among you, And prepare your hearts unto the Lord and serve him only, and he will deliver you out of the hand of the Philistines.
All right, so here we're going back to the delivering them out the Philistines. He had mentioned that. We're going to look now like, all right, what did they do and why did they cry? All right, so now he's saying, all right, if you want to return, because why are they under the Philistines, first of all? Every time they're under something, it's because they were misbehaving. Right now, if you're misbehaving, you're going to have to do the right thing now. And that's what he's telling them. If you return, do unto the Lord with all your hearts, put away the strange God, and Ashtaroth among you, prepare your hearts unto the Lord, serve him only, he'll deliver you out the hands. This is very basic and simple. This is the recipe. The recipe is do what you're supposed to do. Leave the false idols alone. Leave the false names of God alone. Come back to God and his practices, and everything's fine.
And in the modern days, like, there's so many different things now where there's so many different idols as well that can be, you don't even know. Back then it was kind of easy. It was just carved image.
Yeah, carved image
it's
now,
harder.
right? They've turned into
Yeah.
fleshly idols, and people have become idols.
Yeah.
All right, and they're saying, "Oh, this is who I idolize, girl." Now you even wanted that word in your mouth. I idolize you, girl. What kind of word is that? All right, but this is what's happening now. All right, where you're too smart to fall for a stone idol, so they're giving you fleshly idols.
They even had a show called Idols, right?
American idols. All right, I think they had Canadian idols too. All right, did they have UK idols? I don't know.
I think they had it everywhere.
Yeah, they had it everywhere. Okay. All right. Did they have African idols? Did they have what in Africa? All right, so this is what we're understanding here. All right.
Yeah, this happens a lot with people too. Like sometimes people think the grass is greener on their side. They go on the other side, it's not greener, and those gods are not helping them. And then, you know, they have to go back.
Well, they think they're helping them. So what's happening is whatever blessing that God gave them, they're attributing it to the God. So they're thinking the God's helping them until God's now like, you know what? It wasn't that God. Now I got to punish you to make you see that God's not doing it. Because now you're attributing what I'm giving you to the God. And this is what they were doing with Baal. Why those gods who they're calling Baal was Lord, because they were basically giving the title to the land to the God and making that God the Lord over the land. So they were dedicating the lands to the God and making him the Lord and giving the title that, hey, this God owns this land. And that's why it was being called Baal now, the Lord of the land, because Lord, landlord, all of that goes back into who's controlling the land. Right, so this is what made them think, and this is why they just got a nickname for it, because that was a like title name that they were giving it, but the gods had a name, a direct name. All right. So once again, God is telling them, Samuel is telling them what to do to come back to the Lord, and we're going back to the cries that happened in Philistine that the Most High mentioned the multiple times that they cried, and He would no longer hear them. We're going back to one of these times to observe why they were crying and how He helped them. All right, so continue for us.
So book of 1 Samuel chapter 7 verse 4. Then the children of Israel did put away Baalim and Ashtaroth and served the Lord only. And Samuel said, gather all Israel to Mizpeh, and I will pray for you unto the Lord. And they gathered together to Mizpeh, and drew water and poured it out before the Lord, and fasted on that day, and said there, we have sinned against the Lord. And Samuel judged the children of Israel in Mizpeh. And when the Philistines heard that the children of Israel were gathered together to Mizpeh, the lords of the Philistines went up against Israel. And when the children of Israel heard it, they were afraid of the Philistines. And the children of Israel said to Samuel, cease not to cry unto the Lord our God for us, that He will save us out of the hand of the Philistines.
All right, so here we're seeing, what is Samuel? Samuel, basically, they're looking at him as the herald, the crier for the nation. Officially, talk to the Most High for us, let him know what's going on. All right, so now we're going to see what Samuel's doing. Continue for us, verse 9.
And Samuel took a sucking lamb and offered it for a burnt offering holy unto the Lord. And Samuel cried unto the Lord for Israel, and the Lord heard him.
All right, so we're seeing that Samuel cried, and he's hearing it right away. They didn't have to wait. So these are times where the Most High is saying, yo, you cry, and right away I would listen. All right, so Samuel cried unto him. What is the cry? Making official publications. All right, and this is what we're going to get into, that prayers, all of that. The prayer, when you're reading the Psalms, all right, what is the number one thing that you heard with that prayer? The prayer is written down. All right, so it became official. It became official. So if you're gonna make it, even with the words, sometimes we're just using words, but how are we able to read the Psalms and those prayers? Because they officially wrote them down, had them signed, and these are declarations and things like that, proclamations. So not only does David just go in prayer and praying, no, you're hearing that, no, they're writing these things down. They're writing it down. They're bringing it into life. They're making it what? Official. Right? When you're signing something, when you're making a document, you're making something official now. Prayers, declarations, proclamations. In this world, they're not just done by words. Yes, you can read it out, right? But you officially do it by writing it down, right? So what I would challenge people to do is start writing down your prayer. What if your child would like to read your prayer one day? Like, that's my mom's prayer. That's how it's going to help me. That's my dad's prayer. This is what's going to help me.
And also, too, like, look at what Solomon prayed to the Father. Be careful what you're writing down, too. Don't be selfish. Make it so that you can do the Most High's will. Like,
Where are you speaking about when he wrote that?
well, like, where Solomon made the prayer where he asked God to give him the wisdom to
Okay,
lead not for riches.
okay, so that's in the
Yeah,
Wisdom of Solomon.
because that's the true rich thing. That's the blessing, to give you a heavenly task in order to do here on earth, and that's how you're blessed. So when you're writing it down, you know, God will give you what you need. He already knows what you need. You don't have to ask him, but it's better to ask him to, when you're praying, write down for you to be better and to take away your selfishness so you can do what you're supposed to do for him. That will please him even more.
And as well, once again, making it official, making it public, making it
Yeah.
known, right? Making an official document, an official prayer. This is your prayer. It could be shown. How are we able to read others' prayers? Because it was written down, all right? So this is another thing that we're seeing, that criers, they're making official proclamations. Yes, they use the words as well, but there's something written down that they're reading that's using the words. All right. So Samuel was crying, right? Are we finishing that? Are we finishing?
No.
Okay, continue. We're at verse 10.
And as Samuel was offering up the burnt offering, the Philistines drew near to battle against Israel. But the Lord thundered with a great thunder on that day upon the Philistines and discomfited them, and they were smitten before Israel.
All right. So the Most High. All right. So Samuel was offering up the burnt offering. So he's doing the official cry, and with it, he's giving an offering. Right. With doing this, right, Samuel's offering up the burnt offering. The Philistines drew near the battle against Israel, and the Lord thundered with great thunder on that day upon the Philistines and discomforted them, and they were smitten. So once again, we're seeing that when the Most High is in line with the people, he answers these cries right away. But when people are gone into a sinful nature, the Most High becomes quiet for a while, and he stops hearing the cries that's happening. Right? He stops listening for a while. He doesn't react. You're not seeing the power come through on the earth. And we're in a period right now that's what's transpiring, right? Where the Most High, they're going to say, oh, the Most High sleep. He's not asleep. It's just that certain things happening and he's not listening. He's been helping and saving in different periods of time. And then he lets us know in the Revelation that by these two witnesses, right, he'll start to begin to show these same things and interact with the earth again. Right now is basically a time where he left you with the word. The word should convince you, right? And through this time of being quiet, people are now falling to, oh, God is not thing, and people are losing faith, and all of this stuff is happening. And even the people of the kingdom, right, go and they side with Satan and all of these different stuff. All right, so we're going to go to cry definition once again that's being used here.
This is the definition of cry. This is Hebrew 21:99. This is zawak, a primitive root to shriek from anguish or danger, by analogy as a herald, to announce or convene publicly, assemble, call together, make a cry, cry out, come with such a company, gather together, cause to be proclaimed.
All right, so proclaiming these things, to announce officially, publicly, making public, all right, official publications. So for instance, all right, so I'll share a little thing with people, all right? So this is This is knowledge 101. All right. This is the newspaper, right? So everyone has newspapers, all of these things, right? Let me see here. All right. When you want to cry, especially in this realm, the number one place that they tell you to go to is a newspaper, right? If you're going to do anything publicly and you want the public to know, you have to put it in a newspaper, right? So you're going to have to put it in a newspaper, right? The official newspapers, so there's newspapers like the Sun and these stuff, right? And the ones that you know that are tied to newspaper companies, but then there's official governmental newspapers, right? Where this is where you'd want to put things officially, broadcast, all of that, as well with the other ones, right? But this is governmental through the society. And they're usually called a gazette, all right? So gazette.
Gazelle.
No, gazette.
Gazette. Oh.
Gazelle is the animal. Gazette is the paper. I always get it mixed up too. I always
I
forget.
can't even say the community gazelle. I could have sworn I seen a paper.
It's gazette. It's gazette. All right. So the Canada Gazette, in the States, each state has a gazette. All right. Let me get gazette.
Paper, kind of, right? Like
It was the etymology of gazette.
All right. Let's see etymology of gazette. Noun. Newspaper from the 1600s. From French gazette. From Italian gazzetta. Venetian dialectical gazzetta. Newspaper, also the name of a small copper coin, literally little magpie. From Gaza or Gaza. Applied to the monthly newspaper, Gazzetta della Novita, published in Venice by the government, either from its price or its association with the bird typical of false chatter, or both. First used in English in 1665 for the paper issued at Oxford, whither the court had fled from the plague. The coin may have been so called for its marking. Gamilcheg writes, the word is from French, Guy, CJ. The general story of the origin of the word is broadly accepted, but there are many variations in its detail.
All right. So once again, right, the Gazette is newspaper. Whenever they're trying to hide something for you, this is what you think you need to know about the world. Whenever Satan trying to hide something, he just does what Christ does. He's like, you know what? I'm going to use a parable, meaning I'm going to use something that you're not going to really understand it, and only those who need to understand it will understand it. Right? So, right. And a lot of times it could be the Most High doing it too. He's hiding it from sinners. All right, let them put it in that newspaper, but the sinner doesn't know what this newspaper is, right? And therefore it's hidden like that. So this realm, Christ has done that too, where things are hidden by putting it in parable form, meaning using other words, other things that the individual, when they're looking at it, they're hearing it, but they're not understanding it. All right, so they could have easily said newspaper, the Canadian newspaper, but they said Canadian Gazette. Now someone hear the Gazette, they're like, oh, Gazette, they might bypass that. Right, but it's really newspaper. Right, so these are things that they use to cry, or official cries. When Canada's making official cries or the government's making official cries, they're going to be inside that there, a Gazette. Right, that's where they're going to let you know about what's happening with a home, who's in the home. All these official publications are in that. So you want to search for your local Gazette. All right, so just wanted to make that emphasis. All right, and actually, let me share more. All right, and here we see the publications, and these are the official publications. So Canadian Gazette is the official newspaper of the government of Canada. Learn about new statutes, new and proposed regulation, administrative board decisions, public notices. So this is where all the crying is happening in the land. All the official cries of Canada, what they're saying, here is where it's going to be. All right, and once again, in the States, different states have their Gazette. So search up the state and Gazette. I don't believe there's a United States Gazette. All right, so here, I just put it here real quick just to show what transpired. So it says the Gazette of the United States was an early American newspaper, first issued semi-weekly in New York, April 15, but moving the next year to Philadelphia when the nation's capital moved there the next year. It was friendly to the Federalist Party. Its founder, John Fenno, intended it to unify the country under its new government. As the leading Federalist newspaper of its time, it praised the Washington and Adams administrations and their policies. Its Federalist sponsors, chiefly Alexander Hamilton, granted it substantial funding. Because some of it was directly from the government, the Gazette is considered to have been semi-official. The influence of the newspaper inspired the creation of the National Gazette and the Philadelphia Aurora, rival newspapers for the Democratic Republicans. All right. So these ones are Republican gazettes, right? The official one that they're trying to bring in was, we're seeing that would have been the official United States one. They didn't come into play. These ones come in after. Right. So just going again that every nation has an official place where they're doing all the cries. All right. So I just wanted to share that with individuals. All right. So we're continuing. Right. We're now at 1 Samuel 8 and 10. All right. So we're going to another cry of the people. Sorry. Continue that.
It's the book of 1 Samuel chapter 8 verse 10. And Samuel told all the words of the Lord unto the people that asked him a king. And he said, this will be the manner of the king that shall reign over you. He will take your sons and appoint them for himself, for his chariots, and to be his horsemen. And some shall run before his chariots. And he will appoint him captains over thousands and captains over 50s, and will set them to ear his ground, and to reap his harvest, and to make his instruments of war, and instruments of his chariots. And he will take your daughters to be confectionaries, and to be cooks, and to be bakers. And he will take your fields, and your vineyards, and your olive yards, even the best of them, and give them to his servants. And he will take the 10th of your seed, and of your vineyards, and give to his officers, and to his servants. And he will take your men servants and your maid servants and your goodliest young men and your asses, and put them to his work. And he will take the 10th of your sheep, and ye shall be his servants. And ye shall cry out in that day because of your king, which ye shall have chosen you, and the Lord will not hear you in that day.
All right. So the people came onto, right? So Samuel told all the words of the Lord unto the people and asked them of a king. Ask him of a king. Right, so he asked him of a king. So Samuel told all the words of the Lord unto the people that asked him of a king. So the people were coming officially crying unto Samuel, and they were saying, hey, we want officially to have a king. Right, and that time they didn't know what type of kingdom the Most High was setting up for them. He didn't set up anything for them, right? He was over them. He was putting his priesthood and all of that for them, but he didn't want the priests to rule, because that's what the Most High is doing. They were going to rule through the priesthood. The priesthood is ruling them. What they wanted was a system that's like outside, separate from the priesthood. They wanted like what the nations have. They have a king. They have a civil society or a separate society from the religion. They wanted something like that, not knowing that the Most High is setting up this kingdom through the priesthood here. So this is how it kind of becomes separate, all right? But it's all divine planning, because the Most High knew they would want a king just like the nations. Monkey see, monkey do. And once again, Christ would be king, priest, and uniting the whole thing back again anyways, where everything would be under the one. And now we're in this world now where they separated again with the silver realm and this realm.
Pretty much just couldn't wait.
Yeah, they couldn't wait for the Most High to do whatever, yeah. This is what happened in the wilderness too, because once again, the Most High is doing things on his time. So you're like, okay, God, what's going on now? You left us here and they want now to move. But it's like we have to wait. The Most High has a plan, but usually he's waiting to see, all right, before he goes to the next plan, are you patient? One of the fruits of the spirits is patience. All right? That's one of the fruits of the spirit. So he's like, all right, you're exhibiting all the other ones. Let's see if you exhibit this patience. Are you going to wait for this stuff to happen? Right, and usually that's when he's seeing, all right, the person's impatient, and from impatience comes everything else, restlessness, all the other different spirits start to come in just because the person's impatient now, and from that impatience rises up emotion, and it goes into all the other stuff now.
So with patience, you get all the other fruits more easily, and that's basically the first one that the Father wants to learn, because his whole being is patient.
Yeah, correct.
And that's what part of his wisdom. The patientness is a necessity, absolute need for wisdom and a tool to do the Most High's work.
Right, which comes with the long suffering, long suffering, long suffering. Right,
People
so
are selfish and they want to do their own thing, though.
correct. Right, so here they wanted a king. Children of Israel wanted a king, right? And he's telling them, all right, you want a kingdom in this manner, right? Guess what's going to happen? The king, because once again, yes, you'll have a righteous king, but they're of flesh. So when it's happening now, when you get one that's fleshly, they're going to take your stuff. They're going to take the money. They're going to do all of this stuff. And the best example I could give is that the children of Israel, because they're reigning over, they're like, you know, we came out of poverty, we got independence, right? We built our own nation now. They're ruling over the nation now, right? And they're going to have their, prime minister. That's what they put in place, right? Because most of them is under the queen, the commonwealth, right? And then when they do that now, they're like a king in the land. Not really, because their power is limited, but they sneakily do power of things because they're in trusted positions. So they're going to do things that give them their advantage. The number one thing they do in all these countries when they take over, and this is how you know, this is the greediest thing and the easiest thing to see that they're greedy. They mess up the money, right? They take the money for themselves. They're like, all right, we control how money comes into flow. Guess what we're going to do? They're going to inflate the whole system because they just keep putting more in there because they want more money, right? So they're going to have to put more money into place in the system. Right. And then when that happens, guess what they do? They're like, all right, there's a piece of land over there. Guess what they're going to do? And we see it, too. This happened in Canada. They talk about with Justin Trudeau, different people, right? Grant Ford, that they're giving certain contracts and things to companies that are in line with their family. Right. So things for their benefit, and it's not for people. So they're like, all right, there's a thing over there, a piece of land. All right, we're going to give the job to somebody that's contracted in our family that sneaks benefit to that individual. So everything they just wire to themselves because they're in control. And that's what he's saying. They're going to take your daughters to be confectionaries, to be cooks, to be bakers. They're going to turn them to servants. They're going to take your fields, your vineyards. They're going to find ways to take and usurp your stuff. Take your olive yards, the best of them. Right, give them to his servants, right? So he's showing you the greedy nature of mankind, and that you wanting a system like this, especially that's separate from the priesthood, is going to eventually bring about these behaviors. And when that behavior does come out of a king and you cry unto me, God is saying again, I will not answer the cry. Okay.
Because you're doing that stuff.
Because yeah.
Cry, but I can't.
Yeah, correct. All right. So we're seeing that they wanted a king because of this, and the God is saying, all right, you want this stuff, this is what's going to happen now because of that stuff. All right, so we're at 1 Samuel 9:16.
It's the book of 1 Samuel chapter 9 verse 16. Tomorrow about this time I will send thee a man out of the land of Benjamin, and thou shalt anoint him to be captain over my people Israel, that he may save my people out of the hand of the Philistines. For I have looked upon my people, because their cry is come unto me. And when Samuel saw Saul, the Lord said unto him, Behold, the man whom I spake to thee of, this same shall reign over my people.
All right, so here we're seeing that the Most High then chooses an individual. So he starts it off with, you like, you know what? I'm going to make sure the right individual is being picked. And then from there, choosing is going down family line. So he starts off good because he's like, all right, this individual has a good spirit, but he doesn't have no control over the children. The children are getting it by inheritance, right? So he's not electing again and surveying the land and saying, all right, the next individual is going to be this. He just started it off good by saying, all right, this person has a good heart. I know, I searched them out. I'm starting you guys off on a good foot, right? And then as we go into the kings and all of that, we see that, all right, after that, one comes in that's not good, and then he starts again. So he brings this one in. This one doesn't listen to his word fully. He brings David in, who's fully after his heart, and then different sons are coming in through David's bloodline that are operating in different ways.
Going left and right.
Going left and right. 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 And this is all happening because he's like, hey, it's fleshly man, and they're in control, and they have the thing. And once again, they're in control of the land, and the priesthood is separate. All right. So the Most High saying here again that he's going to anoint Saul out of the land of Benjamin, all right, because their cry has come out of him, all right. So we're going to continue. All right, so we're going to also show what are used as well to make official cries, all right, in forms of sound. All right, so we're at 2 Chronicles 13 and 12.
It's the book of 2 Chronicles, chapter 13, verse 12. And behold, God himself is with us for our captain, and his priests with sounding trumpets to cry alarm against you. O children of Israel, fight ye not against the Lord God of your fathers, for ye shall not prosper.
All right, so once again, it's saying, behold, God himself is with us for our captain, his priests with sounding trumpets to cry alarm against you. O children of Israel, fight not against the Lord of God, your fathers, for you shall not prosper. So here, the children of Israel are coming against them, right, and doing wrong things. And the priests here, how do they make official cries and sounds in the land? Via sound, it was through trumpets. Right now, when we're hearing certain sounds, we're hearing it through alarms. Right, but what God is telling us to make cries through, especially in the scriptures, was through trumpets. And these were symbolic representations for specific reasons. But right now, when you're hearing the city cry out, you're hearing cries out of, right, which I guess you could say is a spiritual form of a trumpet, these alarms, these systems here, right? But there should be an official one as well for proclamations that goes back to a trumpet, right? And the whole purpose of it. So we're going to get into that as well. So here we're seeing the priests are sounding trumpets to cry an alarm against them. So they were sounding off official trumpets, which that's the physical representation of what they're also doing physically, right? Which was making official proclamations against the people. All right, so we're going to go to Psalms 34 and 15.
It's the book of Psalms, chapter 34, verse 15. And the eyes of the Lord are upon the righteous, and his ears are open unto their cry. The face of the Lord is against them that do evil, to cut off the remembrance of them from the earth. The righteous cry, and the Lord heareth, and delivereth them out of all their troubles. The Lord is nigh unto them that are of broken heart, and saveth such as be of a contrite spirit. Many are the afflictions of the righteous, but the Lord delivereth him out of them all.
All right, so here we're seeing the ears of the Lord, the eyes of the Lord are upon the righteous. All right, so his eyes are on the righteous and his ears are opening to their cry. So once again, when we're complaining and we're crying out to the Lord, the first thing we want to do when you're crying out to the Lord is going to come back and he's going to examine what's happening. The first thing you should be is like, you know what? I have at least this amount of time where, I've been doing the right thing, God. If you're crying out to God and you haven't been doing the right thing, it don't even make sense to start crying out. Now, you can always cry out and he can have mercy and see your situation, but you're not putting yourself in the best predicament crying out and not having that behavior or righteousness, right? Behavior and exercising these works before him, before you're crying out to show him, look what I've been doing. I've been doing this. I've been doing. If you're crying out and it's only because of what's transpiring to you, right? You're doing exactly what your children of Israel did. Right, when they're crying out because the Philistines are burdening them or whatever. But why is it happening? Because they weren't listening before when the word was being given to them, and now they're feeling the power of God. Right, you should have listened to the word before you had to feel the power.
So they should have been pretty much silent in their thing because they knew, hey, you did something wrong. Stop trying to fix it. Deal with it.
Be silent in there. What do you mean
silent? And acknowledge what they did. And they shouldn't really have been crying out. They should just, even their silence, God would have probably heard them better because they realize, we did something against the Father, but they're just looking to get out of the trouble that.
Yeah. And it's nothing wrong. They could cry out, but it's just that, okay, your cry out will be answered. So this it's fine to ask. It's just a wrong, not now. He's saying no. So it's fine to ask. He's just saying, no, it's not happening now.
So it's just like a baby.
Just
crying for attention.
Yeah, correct. They're like, you're crying, but it's not just crying for attention. Something's happening, but he's like, I told you it was going to happen, and it happened. Right? And this is what we got to do sometimes as well. We got to believe in the word. So the best thing to do, the Most High will back you up. And this is what I'm seeing. When we're seeing the prophets, we're going to get into too, how the prophets are doing miracles. They were cutting together and like, the Most High is going to told me to do this. Like he told Moses that, because once again, he's engaging with Moses after a while. They weren't thing, but when the prophets are going and they're in tune, Elijah, all of them, they're just saying whatever and they know the Most High will back it up because they have that faith and belief. So if you're seeing somebody do something, you're like, you know what? And it's an honest thing that you're analyzing. The Spirit's telling you that you're giving them the warning. And the reason why you're giving them the warning, because the Spirit's telling you, and now, all right, they're not changing that behavior or whatever, the Most High will back up that word because it was attached to his word and what he's saying. All right, so best way to especially, right, especially with children, right, people with partners, right, is to give the warning, right, to have the faith and belief that who's going to do what, that the Most High is going to bring about whatever it is that needs to be done. A lot of times we want to do it ourselves and we're not giving power to the word. All right, like, all right, I'm going to give the warning and then the Most High will do the rest. And that's all the priests are doing. The priests give the warning and then the Most High brings about the rest. All right, so here he's saying the righteous cry and he heareth it. His eyes are on the righteous. His ears are open to their cry. The face of the Lord is against them that do evil. So if he's not hearing cries, if he's not reacting right away, it's because there's evil there. If there's evil there, guess what we should do? We should long suffer, strive, and exercise in the righteousness until he does listen. All right, because once again, the face of the Lord is against them that do evil. The righteous cry, the Lord heareth it. He delivereth them out their trouble. The Lord is near unto them that are of a broken heart. So you going into a broken heart is you getting closer to God now. But now when your heart is being broken, right, when now you're going through this emotional thing that's happening through all the tribulations, because now you're able to listen to God because this stuff is happening to you. Now he's willing to save you because now you're in this position. That's what he wants. He wants you to be broken and not prideful. All right, and he saveth such as be as contrite spirit. Many are the afflictions of the righteous. So it's saying many afflictions happen to the righteous. Afflictions is part of righteousness. If you're attempting to be righteous and think you won't be afflicted in some type of way, you're in the wrong game already. You switch game. Because affliction is going to happen when you're coming to righteousness. That's part of the game. What affliction? You don't know. What affliction? Anything can transpire anytime to test you, to refine you in the Lord. Right? Many are the afflictions of the righteous, but what? But the Lord delivereth him out of all of them. The Lord will deliver out of all the afflictions, whatever you're going through, as long as you didn't die. Guess what that did? It just made you stronger. Now, is it making you stronger in the Lord, or is it making you stronger in your disbelief? That's the only thing. This thing should be making you stronger in the Lord in your belief and not making you stronger in disbelief and doubt, but bringing you into a stronger, right, pull heading towards the Most High. Right, but a lot of times our spirit starts to lack at those times. When we're going through the tribulations, and now it wants to break away and go away. No, this is the time to go further. If you're in tribulation or whatever, this is the best time to present yourself to God. This is the best time to connect with God because you've made yourself perfect now. You're a contrite, a broken heart. That's perfect sacrifice God's looking for. But a lot of times when people are experiencing that, that's the time they want to go. And this is what it mentions in the Dead Sea Scroll that no, you got to circumcise that flesh, that heart in the community. Because they already knew in the Dead Sea Scroll that most people, when they're feeling that, they're going to go outside. And they're able to do that because they're sovereign. You can go wherever you want. So as soon as they feel that type of thing, they're going to go away. And that's why in the Dead Sea Scrolls, they say, no, you in your mind, you have to understand this and know that you got to stay. Because no one's going to hold you down and tie you down and make you stay. They have to come to realization that they're going to have to do this within the community and circumcise their heart. All right, so we're at Genesis 4 and 9.
It's the book of Genesis chapter 4, verse 9. And the Lord said unto Cain, where is Abel thy brother? And he said, I know not. Am I my brother's keeper? And he said, what hast thou done? The voice of thy brother's blood crieth unto me from the ground.
All right, so another thing. What else cries? Blood cries out. Right? When murder's happening, these are cries that are happening. We're seeing what you call Abel's blood crying out to the Most High. What does that mean? Making official proclamation. Look what happened to Abel. Look what's going down. The blood is crying out. The blood is spilling because of the official declaration that happened. What was the declaration that happened? Murder. Murder transpired. Brother murdered brother. All right. And the Most High hears that cry. These are cries that he hears. He hears these cries when somebody is murdering somebody, right? Fellow image of God. Right. Just wanted to make that emphasis too, that blood, the Most High does hear blood cry out, and he does avenge, and he did put in there that if man shedded man's blood, then the same thing's going to happen to him, right? His blood will be required at his hand. And this is why you see the non-stop thing of killing and killing, because all right, one person killed one person, God's going to bring about that this person eventually one day the same thing going to happen to them. They're going to go out the same way too. All right, and you can read the Apocalypse of Paul that up there, right, when someone's murdering somebody, that person's waiting up there. God has them up there, and that person's in the waiting place for when the murderer dies, and they all gonna be in the Most High's courtroom at the same time. All right, so if you want to read more of that, go into the Apocalypse of Paul, and it'll let you know about, hey, when people, right, harm each other, murder each other, that they're up in the heavens. God has the individual that are murdered waiting there in a reserved space, and then their court's going to be adjourned right as that individual who murdered them passes away, and they're going to get over this. And this is in the Apocalypse of Paul. All right, so we're going to go to Psalms 55 and 17.
It's the book of Psalms chapter 55 verse 17. Evening and morning and at noon will I pray and cry aloud, and he shall hear my voice.
All right, so evening, morning, and noon, not only praying is a part of what one should do at these times, but crying as well. And what are cries? Official proclamations. So official proclamations to the Lord should be made morning, noon, and night. All right, he'll pray and cry aloud. We know that the prayer, or these are formal requests, things that we're going to the Most High, right? And then the cry, these are official proclamations, things that are happening now, outcries, certain things of that nature, right? All right, we're going to go to Psalms 142 and 1.
It's the book of Psalms, chapter 142, verse 1. Mashiel of David, a prayer when he was in the cave. I cried unto the Lord with my voice unto the Lord did I make my supplication. I poured out my complaint before him. I showed before him my trouble. When my spirit was overwhelmed within me, then thou knewest my path. In the way wherein I walked, have they privily laid a snare for me. I looked on my right hand and beheld, but there was no man that would know me. Refuge failed me. No man cared for my soul. I cried unto thee, O Lord. I said, Thou art my refuge and my portion in the land of the living. Attend unto my cry, for I am brought very low. Deliver me from my persecutors, for they are stronger than I. Bring my soul out of prison, that I may praise thy name. The righteous shall compass me about, for thou shalt deal bountifully with me.
All right, so this is a prayer, right, when he was in the cave crying out, all right, of being saved out of prison, saving his soul out of prison. All right, and once again, going back to the cries and the prayer, this is a prayer, but what makes it a cry as well is because these are official proclamations. They're written down. It's a prayer and a cry at the same time. All right, so, and how do we know? Because what is he saying? I poured out my complaint. What is his complaint? This is his outcry. This is what Israel is doing all those times through the heralds, through all of that. So he's crying through the prayer, right? So it's a prayer and a cry. It's a prayer and a cry. All right, so he cried unto thee, and the Most High attended unto his cry. All right, and now this is a good psalm for those who need saving out of prison, captivity, things of that nature. All right, this is a psalm you'd want to write down. All right, and you could write your own as well, but this is the base for you to start with. But once again, I'm challenging everybody to start writing their prayer as an official cry out to God. Right? Because how are we able to see this? Those words were said, but we're able to go back to it because they were written down officially. All right, so we're going to go to Proverbs 8 and 1.
It's the book of Proverbs, chapter 8, verse 1. Doth not wisdom cry, and understanding put forth her voice?
All right, so we're also seeing who else cry. Wisdom cry. Wisdom's crying. Wisdom is crying. She's officially proclaiming. She's officially making publicly known and putting forth her voice. Continue for us.
Verse 2. She standeth in the top of high places, by the way in the places of the paths. She crieth at the gates, at the entry of the city, at the coming in at the doors. Unto you, O man, I call, and my voice is to the sons of man.
All right, so she's saying she cries. She makes official proclamations, right, on the top high places, right? So this is from, right, government authoritative places, all right, by the way, in the places of the paths, all right? So paths, right, could be outside, right, could be, you know, just things that wisdom is in everything. So she's saying she's crying out through all these different places because she's everywhere and she's constantly screaming at us to come and obtain her. He says, she crieth at the gates, at the entry of the city, at the coming in at the doors. Unto who she's crying? She's crying unto men, unto mankind, on the sons of man. All right, we're at Proverbs 21:13.
It's the book of Proverbs, chapter 21, verse 13. Whoso stoppeth his ears at the cry of the poor, he also shall cry himself, but shall not be heard.
All right, and we just went into the poor of the community. All right, we went into the poor of the community. Right, we went into the poor of the community and we showed that, hey, you have to pay attention to the poor. If you're not paying attention to the poor of the community, then the Most High is not paying attention to you. And we show that that's who he's ordering you, right, to help. And then the other one that's your mercy or whatever you want, that's the one that's outside. You're commanded to help the poor of the community, right? By your mercy, you help those poor on the outside whenever you want. God's not commanding you like, yo, you can deal with that sinner whenever you want to, right? However you please. But when it comes to the poor of the community, he's bringing that as a command. And here we're saying again that when a cry is being felt from the community, all right, and a poor person's hearing that, we're to hear these cries, right? And if you stop your ear at the cry of the poor, right, and when you cry, you won't be heard, right? But it's going back again that a person could cry, and then what happened? They can start beginning to cry wolf, right? So it's not saying, oh, cry every time the poor person cry in here, but no, if it's an honest cry, then we're here. But if these cries the same way the Most High is like, yo, how much times you cried? And all these times, guess what? It didn't happen. The behavior didn't change. You can cry eye water out now. You're not being helped now, right? And the government does that a lot of times too, because they're like, all right, this person on the program, the system, yeah, they want to help you, but they're like, if you abuse it a bunch of time, they're like, yo, we can't help you. You're suspended right now. There's no help. As much as you're poor in this, they're like, we can't release no money to you. As much as the person's like, I need the money. They're like, you're suspended right now. Right? You abuse the system. Right? Even though you're poor, even though you need this to survive, even though you need this to go for your rent, they're not giving it to you right now. All right, so the same thing. Whoso stoppeth his ears at the cry of the poor, he shall cry himself, but the Lord shall not be heard. So this is the importance of why, all right, making sure is when going to sleep, do they care if anybody else, especially in the brother of Christ, right, if they need help? Are they ensuring that, hey, if they do need help, I put it in a place that, hey, it can go and it'll be efficiently given to them if somebody needs? Or are people going to sleep and they don't care about the poor? Like, if you're going to sleep and you don't care about the poor, like, I'm going to make a checklist. And this is what we have the community, we call the requirements. Because if you're not doing certain, like the most like you went to sleep, how much days you went to sleep and you didn't care about no poor in the community? Like, the Most High cannot be happy with that. It's impossible. It's impossible. That when someone's coming to help and somebody else is outside and they're doing whatever and they're spending whatever and they're eating money how they want and they're doing what they want and they didn't give not one red cent for a time where the church may have to help somebody who else is in need, how can the person go to sleep? Sometimes we just forget about these things and then time passes and you're like, oh man, you know what? It's been so long. You have to remember, okay, now when it happens to you, the Most High is like, yo, I'm not remembering what happened to you. You don't even care what's happening with why would the Most High care what's happening to you if you don't care what's happening with his kingdom? Right? And if a person is, right, succeeding in that way and behaving in that way, that's because the Most High has already written them off as he's not part of it, because he would have already stopped that, right? Because he lets us know he chastised though he's loved. So if he's not chastising you and you're operating a certain behavior that's contrary, that means he's already written you off as you're not his child. That's why you can do whatever. That's not my child. I'm not the one who penalizing them. All right, but if you're of the Spirit, then he's going to make sure, no, you're going to constantly be in this turmoil. You're going to have these things happen because he's letting you know. So sometimes some people, when they're doing whatever and they're prospering in that way and they're not analyzing the scripture to see, is my way what I'm prospering in according to the scripture, or am I just prospering because I'm now cast off as not his child? right? Because you could only bring forth fruit in Christ if you're of that tree. But if you're of another tree, then you could bring forth that other fruit. Finally, right? Because it's not nothing to do with Christ.
That's why a lot of people are like, well, how come these people have money and you're not with God?
Yeah.
How come they have all this stuff and they're not with God?
Right, and I did that in the envy lesson where it's like envy not the sinner, because once again, the sinner's not a part of what you're a part of. The sinner could expand and go live their life and do all of that, and they don't have to listen and follow the Most High. He's not punishing them according to that. What is he punishing them according to? The laws of the universe. If they hustle and do whatever, guess what? Then they'll get money, because they're not. It's not according to the gospel in that, right? So there's the universal principles, and then there's the universal principles that's also tied with the church principles. When the person's not a part of the church, they're left to just the universe. If they be diligent in the world, then they'll be diligent, right? But we can do that too. But if you're diligent in the Lord, there's also another thing as well, right? So we have to understand that there's these universal principles that guide us. And then there's those who are in the kingdom. We have to follow these biblical principles through the word, right? The universal principles for everybody, the biblical principles for those that are in the spirit. All right, so we're at Isaiah 12:6, and we're almost done here.
It's the book of the prophet Isaiah, chapter 12, verse 6. Cry out and shout, thou inhabitant of Zion, for great is the Holy One of Israel in the midst of thee.
All right, so cry out and shout, thou inhabitant of Israel, for great is the Holy One in the midst of thee. All right, Christ is in the midst. We must cry out. We must shout out. We must proclaim things, make these proclamations, cry out unto the Lord, for the God, he's great, he's amongst us. All right, we're at Lamentations 2:19.
It's the book of Lamentations, chapter 2, verse 19. Arise, cry out in the night. In the beginning of the watches, pour out thine heart like water before the face of the Lord. Lift up thy hands toward him for the life of thy young children, that faint for hunger in the top of every street.
All right, so usually when it's an afflictive crying out, unless something's happening in the daytime and the person needs to cry out, the cries that the Most High wants to hear and that he's inclined to hearing the most is these cries in the nighttime, right? Going back again, that the night watch and all of these are important. Showing, and the reason why it's important, because once again, daytime, everybody's awake. Everybody's operating. Everybody's learning different stuff, right? Everybody has a willingness to whatever they want to do, they'll do in the daytime. Nighttime, your flesh, which that flesh is a representation of sin, ignorance, all of that is now calling you and saying it's now present everywhere. And it's saying, no, sleep. We know sleep is ignorance. This is the time where ignorance is out, all of that. So the Most High say, no, cry out at these specific times, because now it's showing a certain dedication. Your body wants to go to sleep, but your spirit wants to stay awake. Your spirit wants to cry out to God. Right? It's not just your body that you, by default, in the daytime, your body is awake and it wants to do stuff. In the nighttime, now he's seeing that, okay, your flesh, you're fighting against the flesh and you're doing what the spirit wants to do, which is, hey, going to these things in the night. And we challenge ourselves. This is why it says they that sleep, they that do their wickedness in the night. All right. So the nighttime is synonymous with sin, is synonymous with ignorance. And if we're listening in a time of ignorance, then that's synonymous in the nighttime. That, all right, in the nighttime, that is a time symbolic with ignorance, that you're listening and awake. Right. And a lot of times we like to tell people, oh, you know what? These people don't want to hear what I'm saying with the word or with this, but challenge yourself. This is how you, because this is what the Most High gives us a similitude. When we're telling somebody, oh, they don't want to hear the word, they don't want to hear what I'm saying, challenge yourself 3, 4 in the morning to go write a document or something. And that's the same thing that that person's feeling when you're telling them that in the daytime, because they're experiencing all that ignorance and you're telling them, no, yo, listen to this word, just listen to this. And they don't want to do it at that time. It's easy for us to look at them like, oh, they don't want to hear the word, none of that. But in the nighttime, when it's now present now, this is the time for you to be like, all right, this is how this person would really feel. And this is when you're experiencing the fight that they're feeling in their mind now. Because your body's like, yo, I don't want to do this stuff. I don't want to hear this stuff right now. Oh, this is on TV. I don't. That's what they're experiencing during the daytime when you're talking to them.
See, that shows that you really care about doing the Father's service, because then you're finding out what the people are going through.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing.
All right. So continuing.
It's the book of Zephaniah, chapter 1, verse 14. The great day of the Lord is near. It is near and hasteth greatly. Even the voice of the day of the Lord, the mighty man shall cry there bitterly. That day is a day of wrath, a day of trouble and distress, a day of wasteness and desolation, a day of darkness and gloominess, a day of clouds and thick darkness, a day of trumpet and alarm against the fenced cities and against the high towers. And I will bring distress upon men, that they shall walk like blind men, because they have sinned against the Lord, and their blood shall be poured out as dust, and their flesh as the dung. Neither their silver nor their gold shall be able to deliver them in the day of the Lord's wrath, but the whole land shall be devoured by the fire of his jealousy. For he shall make even a speedy riddance of all them that dwell in the land.
All right. So once again, the great day of the Lord, when that great day of the Lord is coming, all mighty men shall cry bitterly. So this is going into the end of the times in the world. That once again, God been telling the world, hey, do this, do that. They came into Christian, they did all that, and they went back into the same vomit. Now, when God is bringing the great day and we're seeing all these wars coming, you're going to see that all these leaders and these people and these great men, when this war is starting to happen, they're going to cry out. All right. Mighty men shall cry bitterly, that the day of wrath is at here. Right. A day of trouble and bitterness, a day of wasteness, desolation, a day of the trumpet and alarm against the fenced cities and against the high towers. All right. All these things now are going to transpire in this great day, because the Most High been crying out and these people weren't listening. And now he's going to make all the world cry out, all the mighty men of the world. He's going to bring distress upon men. They shall walk like blind men because they have sinned against the Lord. So this is the punishment he's putting on world leaders and all of them, that they're going to be like, when their countries hit and all of this stuff, he's like, you guys thought I was playing and joking. Now they officially want to bring proclamations and cry out to the Lord. And when God makes this stuff happen, and we're like, right now, we're like, all right, when is this going to happen? The way the Most High operates, when he does these things, these nations will come to who the Most High chooses. Because now the Most High is officially saying, all right, these people did this and that. And this is what happened with the Essenes, where it's like, it could seem simple now, but we're analyzing, we're putting ourselves in the correct position, preparing ourselves for that great day, and they're not preparing. So by default, we're stepping into that position. All right, and the Most High is bringing this distress upon all these other nations, and when they feel this distress, that's when they look towards the Lord. That's when they go and they're like, oh, that's the church you want us to put on the high. We'll do whatever you want, Lord, whatever you want to do in that day. Right?
Destroy those Walmarts.
Yeah. Right. But first, the Lord has to actually bring these things to them. But once again, the earth is in a quiet period where the Most High is not hearing none of that stuff and not doing any of that. But it's beginning to wake back up to where they will be like, all right, the Most High is going to continue, bring certain things onto the land until they do certain stuff. All right. You know what? Let me get that scripture. There's a scripture I want to share here. Damn, you know what? It's on my thing. All right. Shoot. Dead. Okay, I think it's okay. Ezekiel 21. All right, Ezekiel 21. I'm going to go to it right here. Ezekiel 21 and 26. All right, so we're going to go to Ezekiel 21 and 26.
It's the book of the prophet Ezekiel.
Actually, you start at 25.
25? Mm-hmm. It's the book of the prophet Ezekiel, chapter 21, verse 25.
No, no, not 21. 25.
Well, chapter 25.
Yeah, chapter 21, verse 25.
25, yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's the book of the prophet Ezekiel, chapter 21, verse 25. For the king of Babylon stood at the parting of the way, at the head of the two ways, to use divination. He made his arrows bright, and he consulted.
No, oh, sorry.
Okay.
No, what are you at? Ezekiel 21. Is that Ezekiel?
Yeah, Ezekiel 21, verse 20, 25. Yeah.
That comes different from the one I got. Ezekiel 21. It's supposed to say, and thou profane. Okay, yeah, start from there. Yeah. Yeah.
It's the book of the prophet Ezekiel, chapter 21, verse 25. And thou profane, wicked prince of Israel, whose day is come, when iniquity shall have an end. Thus saith the Lord God, remove the diadem, and take off the crown. This shall not be the same. Exalt him that is low, and abase him that is high. I will overturn it, and it shall be no more until he come whose right it is, and I will give it to him.
All right, so I will say that once again, because going back to when now the Most High is punishing the nations and they're crying out and they're doing that. Why is the Most High doing that? Because there's unrighteousness. Now he's overturning. And he's saying when that time is happening, why is he doing that? He's overturning, and bringing destruction until they do what? Till they put in position who's supposed to be in position and whose right it is to be in position. Right, so that is just showing that whole thing here, that the Most High speaks on this, that's why he's bringing the turmoil in the earth, because he's shaking things up and he wants the rightful individual to now rule and be put in the right positions. And that's when he causes all this turmoil, and the turmoil continues until they change it and switch it over. All right, so just making that emphasis. All right, so we're at the end of the lesson here. All right, we're gonna go to Psalms. We're gonna go to Philippians 4 and 8, and we're gonna end it off.
It's the book of Philippians chapter 4, verse 8. Finally, brethren, whatsoever things are true, whatsoever things are honest, whatsoever things are just, whatsoever things are pure, whatsoever things are lovely, whatsoever things are of good report, if there be any virtue, and if there be any praise, think on these things. Those things which ye have both learned and received and heard and seen in me, do, and the God of peace shall be with you.
All right, so once again, both these things which you've heard, that you've learned, that you've received, that you've heard today, do. If you do these things and you cry out to the Lord will be more inclined to hear that cry when he decides to. Right, key thing. Keep doing what you're supposed to do, and that cry will be answered eventually. Not when you want to, but when the Lord wants to. All right, and that's the key thing to remember, especially when he's given us multiple chances and now we're feeling the power of something. When we're feeling the power of something, that means that you had your opportunity at the word, because the word comes first. The word is Christ. After that, you're going to feel the power of God. Right, which that's the judgment, that's the all of that. And if you didn't listen to the word, you didn't listen to the wisdom, hopefully you listen to the power. And that's what God is counting on. And the person listens to the power, but the power kind of sends them into this whole frenzy. But you need to remain calm, continue in the spirit, long suffer, endure, and God will eventually answer that, as we see in the scriptures today. Right, so that being said, we want to say all praises be unto the Most High Almighty, Yahweh Yeshua Christ, our Lord, our God, our Savior. This is the SC Community Church of Christ. My name is Archbishop Shamar.
And I'm Bishop Michaela.
And this was our Sabbath report / lesson / song / gospel song of the day, Cry Aloud. The cries of Sodom, the people, and the land, proclamations. That was part 2. Peace and blessings.
Peace and blessings. Peace and blessings.
Only the children of light is gonna understand this.
For there are 3 philosophical sects among the Jews, the followers of the first of which are the Pharisees, of the second, the Sadducees, and the third sect, and the third sect, which pretends to a severer discipline, are called the Seeds. These last are Jews by birth, and Jews by birth,